at us, try to make this shit look real somehow, and we go, nah, we'll just have fun.
We were just talking on the super podcast. By the way, the mothership, available at 605pod.com.
You slipped that right by.
I did. We just had a Star Wars episode where various co-hosts come on the show. We all talk about various topics. And we talked a lot about Los Angeles and the Olympic Auditorium. And I had Bob Barnett and Dan Farron on. Just how scary it was. It was crazy scary, as they said. It was the most fun you could ever have being scared, because people were throwing stuff all over the place. People believed the seats were angled at a slope, especially in the balcony, where it almost felt like you were going to fall at all times. It was an environment perfect for wrestling, a scary environment.
Yes.
No silliness.
Well, and that's the thing also is, once again, people point back to stupid gimmicks from previous generations, whether I've booked them or just worked for promotions that had them, and equate it with this idiocy that we've just opened up, and we've started dancing the two-step and doing invisible choke slams and all the other it's silly. And I don't see why people can't figure the difference. And I hope as these guys get bigger, to close this subject, as these guys get bigger and get more opportunities to do this shit, please tell me they wouldn't do that in Madison Square Garden. Or I wouldn't blame Vince if he came down, hit the ring, and beat the fuck out of all of them. If they had 6-foot dicks dressed up to accompany a fucking job guy prelim fucking talent in a sellout in Madison Square Garden, someone should, in the McMahon family, should hit the ring. Shane would have the balls to do it. I bet you if Pete Gass or Rodney or somebody dared Shane to go down and beat the shit out of the dick guy for disrespecting Madison Square Garden and his family, I bet you he'd fucking do it. And could.
And don't be a fan who rips the WWE for all the stupid, silly shit that they do, and then you support all the stupid, silly shit on the indies. It's the same thing.
They didn't. I'm not saying agree with the shit because the WWE would do it. I'm saying if you wouldn't like it from the WWE, and they've never even done giant dicks. Val Venus didn't.
Vince doesn't have the balls to do giant.
And Val Venus had a dick gimmick, but never once showed his dick or flipped anybody with his dick, and could actually fucking work his ass off instead of being this pudgy little fucking outlaw job guy. Anyway, I hope they'll try to be more major league so they can get more major league, because they will do shit that limits themselves because they've never been in a position, and apparently nobody at Ring of Honor wanted to tell them no. It's going to look bad on us too. So they will find out that when you do outlaw shit, you sometimes doom yourself staying outlaw because you limit your opportunities. There's no reason for it. Anyway. I got some emails.
All right.
And one is from Jim Barnett. No, it's not. It's actually, his last name is Barnett, but I won't.
That's the second Barnett we've named on the show. Bob Barnett and Jim Barnett.
And Smiley Burnett.
Oh.
Anyway, is Old Western Star. Anyway, hi, Jim. I hope all is well. I thought this is interesting because a lot of people don't get this as succinctly as this guy has just realized this. I work in the athletics department of the local community college, and we were discussing events, possibly fun fundraisers that could generate interest and donations and be fun for our student athletes. I suggested, why don't the baseball and basketball teams play each other in their respective sports? Baseball could challenge basketball in the fall to a baseball game, and basketball could challenge the baseball team to a basketball game in the spring. It sounded like and was received as a great idea, until we realized there was no upside. If baseball plays basketball in a baseball game and beats them, who cares? It's what you expect. If baseball plays basketball in a baseball game and loses, then the baseball team has to spend the rest of the season knowing it was beaten by a team from another sport. It'd be embarrassing and demoralizing. That's how I feel about intergender wrestling. There is no upside. If the man wins, who cares? It's expected. If the woman beats the man, then the man is demoralized, embarrassed, and ruined. There is no upside. I know it's a work, and I know you win because you're told that's what's going to happen. But I miss the days when I could believe in it. I miss the days when a finisher actually finished a match. I miss the days when I looked forward to every Saturday at 4 o'clock on the UHF channel. I miss the days when I didn't have to ask myself why I'm still watching this stuff. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Rich, fan since 1971.
All right. Smart.
That's how has anybody not been able to figure this out any other way with the and once again, everybody goes, oh, you wrestled Sunshine or whatever. Yeah, because I was a fat manager and she was a valet and we were going to have a fight and neither one of us were trained professionals. And the fact that I was beaten by Sunshine or Baby Doll or Precious or whoever the fuck beat me was part of the deal to get them to pay to see it. And we made it look like they legitimately beat me because I was that fucking blah, right? Not two trained professionals trading spots back and forth because the woman is a good enough athlete to execute these moves. That's not the point. The point is the woman is not nor should not be a good enough athlete to take a goddamn giant leaping vertical suplex from a guy 100 pounds bigger than she is. It's supposed to be a trained professional male fucking fighter and get right back up and start fucking running spots off the ropes. So fuck you, all of you. That's it. Women are not supposed to be able to beat men up if they are all things being equal in a trained setting. And if the woman does beat the man should be demoralized, embarrassed, and ruined. Is there anything as a male person are you taught from the beginning of cognizance of time? Is anything supposed to be more embarrassing than you got beat up by a girl? Can you think of anything?
Only if Randy Orton comes at me and tries to shake my hand. That may be a little more embarrassing.
Okay, but otherwise, getting your ass kicked by a girl, so that's the fucking point. Which is why it was done to managers and people of ill repute like that, but not the wrestlers, because then it makes him look like bullshit. Hence why Steve Austin changed his match with Mark Marrow after Sable powerbombed him. Because if Sable can powerbomb Mark Marrow, how long should it take Stone Cold Steve Austin to beat the fuck out of him? The answer is 0 seconds. Just don't have the match. It's a good way to ruin your fucking career. These idiots don't even realize it.
Why do you think it's so common now, the women being involved in spots with guys?
Because it got cool and all the fucking indie outlaw mud show fans started going, oh, yes, and it's cool that the women get to be like the men now. No, the women can get to be like the men by having matches against each other in main event spots and performing at high levels on pay-per-view, and that's perfectly acceptable. But when you start trying to tell me in any respects that this fucking bullshit is good where they're going 10 minutes back and forth, for fuck's sake, it's phony and stupid. And as a matter of fact, I believe, hold on, I have another email. I don't know. It might not be in this stack. Apparently it's somewhere else. But anyway, that's the guy was saying, why does everybody want to see this shit with the girls proving that they can do what the guys do when they know what it does to the guys? And the girls are not as strong nor as sturdy as the guys physically and structurally. So when I talked about that fucking idiot outlaw guy up north that gave that buckle bomb to that girl and threw her halfway across the ring, she landed all folded up and should have killed her. It didn't, but it wasn't for his lack of fucking not knowing what the fuck he was doing. If that was my girlfriend or wife, I'd have to go find this fucking guy and speak to him. It's not comfortable watching girls do all that stupid shit that the guys are doing now because I'm uncomfortable watching the guys do some of it because it's fucking stupid. And they've created this situation where that's what they have to fucking do. As a matter of fact, this other email from Devin, who watched a top 5 moments video on YouTube highlighting a Sami Callihan match. I'm almost like Nash in a number of moves. I'm trying to figure out how they got 5 highlights out of a fucking Sami Callihan match. But they involved Legos, and that's another thing now they do. They roll Legos out in the ring and take bumps on them. Because, when you were a kid, stepped on Legos barefoot, and it hurts because they're sharp. So naturally, that'd be a thing that these fucking morons would do. They also had a staple gun spot where Sami asked for his opponent to use it. This was done 3 times with a nut shot. If I'm reading this correctly, this fucking lunatic asshole idiot apparently asked his opponent to staple him with a staple gun in his nuts 3 times. And too many pile drivers. Oh, well, of course it did. And do I believe there's any hope for wrestling return? No, I don't, because that's the thing. It's gone past it now. It's still disrespectful, and I'm still going to hate these people for doing it. But you can't. It's like the other asshole I referred to on Twitter, who some outlaw guy, once again, like I said, either maybe he wrestles outlaw or maybe he bought boots and tights and he was just in it because it wasn't a lot of people there in the building. Could have been a birthday party. I'm not sure. But somebody, of course, brought it to my attention. He tweeted, "I'm just hanging out over here killing the business." And it was a little 30-second clip of him and 3 other guys. And it was poor quality video. So I couldn't say, I didn't think I would know any of them anyway. But it's basically, they had a finger gun standoff with each other in a tag match in the middle of the ring for all 12 people at the birthday party or whatever. And so I told this fucking idiot what I thought of him and how I was disgusted by the thought of him and his father smells like elderberries and I fart in his general direction. And he retweets and tries to, because I guess his profile says he's a pro wrestler and a stand-up comic. I'm thinking he's probably a stand-up comic that believes he's a pro wrestler. But at any rate, so he was trying to joust with me verbally, and I played with him a couple times, and then I said, all right, fuck it, I've actually got to do shit. But so I know he's trying to get some publicity off me, because who else has ever heard of the fucking guy unless I'm talking about him, which is why I'm not going to at least mention his name here. But that's the thing. It's gone to the point where they want to get silly so people will look at them, like when you hang your dick out on the playground when you're 10, or when I'm in fucking Detroit pissing on Vince Russo's cardboard cutout. They want to tweet this stuff out so that I'll yell at them and make them a star or whatever. But when you're seeing that all over the place, it's not just these little shows in front of no people, but it's all over the fucking internet and all over Twitter, and etc. So you're seeing that. I don't think there's any way to come back from it. I don't, because now everybody knows that this shit is all bullshit. And not only that, but that the people involved in it that are hurting themselves to do it don't respect it enough to try to at least keep you from knowing that, no, you can get slammed off the top rope. If you do it right, you can pop right back up and nothing happened. Of course, if you do it wrong, you can still kill yourself. So it's still dangerous, but we're going to act like it just for the general public. No, this shit's all bullshit. And then somebody did tweet me, said the 4-way finger gun standoffs. Well, I says a bunch of outlaw fucks. Colt Cabana was in it. Well, I mean, there you go. The fucking patient zero of fucking stupid bullshit in wrestling. Colt Cabana was in it. That proves my point. Bunch of fucking jackoffs. Didn't respect the business.
The patient zero.
Patient zero of stupid fucking wrestling phony bullshit. Outlaw mud show. Anyway, we have an update on a previous programming topic.
Oh.
Because one of the guy that thought that Vince was the 33rd level Mason and homosexual sodomite who was also a lizard monster mentioned that also, was this QAnon? No, it was QAnon, the QAnon idiots who were actually probably more stupid than the guy who thinks Vince is a 33rd level sodomite Mason lizard monster, because at least he could play a convincing one. But anyway, it was the QAnon people that think that J.P. Morgan, John Pierpont Morgan, early American fiancé, sank the Titanic, right?
Yeah, right.
We have more information on this.
Oh.
Doug writes, the theory you mentioned on the experience regarding, QAnus, right here, believing that J.P. Morgan sank the Titanic has been around for many years. Morgan owned the IMM, International Mercantile Marine, which was the parent company of the White Star Line who built and owned the Titanic. He was also originally booked to be on the maiden voyage of the Titanic, but canceled at the last minute. The theory is that due to various monetary factors, he ordered the ship to be driven into the ice field at high speed and sunk purposely to collect a multi-million-dollar insurance claim on the ship. He supposedly didn't count on there being no ships close at the time to rescue passengers, and even supposedly planned to have ships in the area to rescue people. In other words, so the theory goes, 1,500 people died in an attempted insurance scam. This is, of course, completely bogus and hokum.
Ridiculous.
As historians have disputed it and proven it to be false on many occasions, but the point is this conspiracy theory has been around for a while.
Can you imagine you're the richest man on the planet and you're trying to make a few $1 million in insurance